Have you ever wanted to control electronics with just a clap of your hands? In this lesson, I will show you how Arduino can recognize sounds using a simple sound sensor. By the end, you'll build a light controller system that lets you turn an LED on and off with either a button or a clap. This is lesson 11 of our 24-part series called Arduino for Beginners. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming lessons. The analog sound sensor is a tiny but very handy module. At its core, it uses a microphone that detects the intensity of sound. Here's how it works. Sound waves hit a diaphragm inside the microphone. That thin plate vibrates back and forth, creating tiny changes in voltage. Arduino reads those voltage changes as an analog signal. The louder the sound, the higher the voltage. The quieter the sound, the lower the voltage. If it feels familiar, it's because we've seen the same principle in other components. Light sensors vary resistance based on brightness. Potentiometers vary resistance when you turn them, and microphones vary voltage with sound. Of course, this kind of sensor is quite simple. It can't recognize words or voices like your smartphone does, but it's great for detecting noise levels, claps, knocks, or even sharp sounds. Some versions of the sound sensor module includes a tiny potentiometer so you can adjust its sensitivity. The one I'm using today doesn't have that, and that's actually good news because it makes it even easier to use. Before we move on, a quick thank you to DF Robot for sponsoring this series. DF Robot is one of the top providers of robotics and electronics components worldwide. On their store, you can find pretty much everything: motors, sensors, displays, jumper wires, and even powerful single-board computers. They focus on providing high-quality parts at affordable prices and global shipping. That's where today's sound sensor comes from. So if you need components for your own projects, I highly recommend checking them out. The link of their store is in the description. Thank you GF Robot for sponsoring this lesson and helping make STEAM education more accessible to everyone. Now let's dive into today's project. The project is simple. We'll build a light controller system that allows us to turn on and off an LED using either a push button or a clap. Both controls work interchangeably. Here's what you need from the Mind Plus Arduino coding kit: Arduino Uno, input-output expansion shield, red LED, push button, analog sound sensor, a few jumper wires. Assembly is quick. Start by attaching the expansion shield to the Arduino. Then connect the LED to port 2, the push button to port 3, and the sound sensor to analog port A5. That's it. If you need extra help, follow the wire diagram that's on the screen right now. Now that everything is wired, let's move to the code. You'll find the complete sketch on the GitHub repository for this series. The link is in the description. Copy it into your Arduino IDE, but before uploading, let's walk you through the logic so you understand how it works. We start by defining the pins: LED on pin 2, button on pin 3, and the sound sensor on A5. We also set up a variable to remember whether the LED is currently on or off. The button is configured with Arduino's internal pull-up resistor. That means when the button isn't pressed, the pin reads high, and when you press it, it goes low. We use this change in state to decide when to toggle the LED. For the sound sensor, we read an analog value between 0 and 1023. When you clap your hand, the value jumps sharply. We compare that to a threshold. If it's higher, we treat it as a clap. To avoid false triggers, there is a short delay called a debounce, so echoes or background noise won't keep switching the light rapidly. Both the button and the clap detection call the same function, toggle LED. This function simply flips the state of the LED. If it's on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on. That way, no matter which input you use, button or clap, the system stays in sync. Once you upload the code, try it out. Clap once and the LED turns on. Press the button and it turns off. Clap again and it turns back on. And the controls are fully interchangeable. If you enjoyed this project, I have some exciting news. I'm working on a brand new online masterclass where I'll teach you how to build your own Arduino portal drone from scratch. This isn't for complete beginners, but a step up. We will cover flight control, wireless communication, PCB design, 3D printing, and much more. I will guide you step by step and provide all the materials you need so you can actually finish a working drone. If that sounds exciting, join the waiting list through the link in the description. You'll be the first to know when the masterclass launches. That's it for today's lesson. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next tutorial. If you liked this project, check out the video appearing on your screen right now. I think you enjoyed it too.